So it's Monday, and we're continuing our series Unfiltered. We've got just really great feedback from this. This whole idea of living our life through filters, pretending to be somebody that we're not, or living a life that we're not really meant to live, and hopefully taking like daily steps toward authenticity. So the first week we looked at comparison, and comparison causes us to project that, so we compare better with others instead of like really trying to be that true authentic self. We looked at intimacy a couple weeks ago, and like here, like the best thing we can do is offer our authentic true self to another human being. Not you can't have intimacy unless you're authentic. Yesterday was a cool day that we looked at worship, and really we looked at what it is and who it is that we worship. And I made the case that there's probably a lot of us that are worshiping counterfeit gods. Those gods might be money, they could be lust, it could be sports. Just really so many things where, we looked at a wonderful story of Jacob, who led his people to worship God and God alone. And with that unfiltered, authentic love that helps us to become our true self. Now, this Sunday, I've been working this morning. We're going to look at compassion. I think the technology in the world that we live in today causes us to lack compassion for our neighbor and for other people. I think we see so much violence. We've become desensitized to pain and suffering. And then I also think we confuse like hitting the like button on Facebook or retweeting something to champion a cause, but that doesn't fix the problem. Compassion at its finest is really just thinking about like, I can't have peace in my life until there's peace for you. Compassion is always going to have an action that's attached to it. This summer I was in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, for a few days, and one of the things I saw was the Anne Frank house. And Anne Frank was this Jewish girl. She grew up in the 1930s in Amsterdam, and she wrote one of the most beautiful books ever written. It's called The Diaries of Anne Frank, and she received compassion from a Dutch doctor who took them in and hid them. The Germans eventually found her. She went to a concentration camp where she died as a teenage girl. But one of the treasures in this book is she said that no one has ever become poor by giving. And it would be really hard to say that truer words have ever been spoken on that one. That's just a wonderful little phrase. We don't become poor by giving, we become rich by giving. There is no act of compassion that's ever wasted. I really believe, like today, and like I talked about this a little bit yesterday. If you're a Democrat or Republican or a moderate, or you just don't care, we realize that our country, it's just not in the best position right now. It's not in the best shape. We don't seem to get along with each other very well, and I believe if we spend the same time and energy understanding and giving that we did judging and criticizing, that we and everybody around us would be so much better off. So on Sunday morning, I'm going to tell a story about this guy named Mephibosheth. And I'm going to talk about David's relationship with him, how David offered him kindness. This is probably my favorite story in all of the Bible. I cannot wait to share it with you. At the end of the service, we're going to have communion together. We're going to take a special offering for our Uganda mission. This is one of the most compassionate, it's one of the coolest things that we do as a church. Every year we raise like just thousands of dollars for this and send a team over there. We're also going to see a short video that one of the local news stations did on the leader of this trip. Hey, Wednesday night, just real quick, Wednesday night is our Ash Wednesday service, and that service is going to be at 6:30 at Tiburon Golf Course. Wednesday is the start of those 40 days known as Lent. This is probably one of my 2 or 3 favorite worship experiences every year. I just love this. It causes us at at its best to for us to think about who we are and who God is. I want to read just a short part of one prayer out of Prayers for the Water's Edge. And it goes like this. Remind me of my mortality. I was created from dust, and to dust I shall return. My time in the world you create is limited. Help me to make the most of it. Let your dreams for me be my dreams for me. Make my purposes clearer. Give me a passion for my purposes. And let me know that this world is not my permanent home. Your kingdom, your heart is my true and eternal dwelling place. So we'll be looking at some really cool stuff on Wednesday night. Then on Sunday morning, we'll continue Unfiltered as we take this move from living our life through filters and projecting an image of who we actually are not, to like this true, authentic self. So we're narrowing that gap, we're diminishing that gap, and hopefully we even can come close to eliminating that gap. So love y'all, Water's Edge family. Have a great week, and we'll hopefully see you Wednesday night at Tiburon and Sunday morning at Millard West.